All right, ladies and gentlemen, do me a huge favor. Let's give a round of applause to your next speaker, Mr. Anthony Perez, TEDx speaker, flew all the way from Denver, Colorado to pour into you today. Let's give him a round of applause. Woo! Let's go!
All right, let's give a round of applause to Daniel for putting this great event on. Hey, thanks for coming out. Thanks for being here. I'm going to be messing with this thing all day. I can tell already. A couple things. Glad to be back in Texas. My man Ty here just told me, I don't know, Whataburger supposedly bet the thing in Texas, and I guess I'm supposed to get a Bob. Is that right? The breakfast sandwich? I don't know. So I'll try it. A Bob. Got it. We will see how that goes. Stay tuned. My name's Anthony Perez, Navy veteran, serial entrepreneur. Met Daniel about a year and a half ago. I'll get into my story a little bit down as we roll things out. But I'm excited to be here today because I get to set the stage. Right? Daniel shared a lot about your mindset, why you're here. We're all here for different reasons. I'm here for different reasons. You're here for different reasons. We're going to get into that as well. But a couple things I want to be very clear with you about are three things that he just kind of talked about. One, we just talked about, you just shared Romans, right? What is it? Luke 12:48, right? Much given, much is required, much is deserved. Daniel's given to you much. It's your responsibility to match or exceed what he has given to you. This is going to drive me crazy, guys. So let's do that. So it's your responsibility to match or exceed what he's pouring into you this weekend. Yes? Yeah. The other thing is distractions. Where do distractions come from? Everywhere. Right? Internally and externally. Right? I had the opportunity to do a TED Talk. I shared in the Navy that I was a rescue swimmer. Right? Where's my Navy guys? Gals, yes. Yes, Janae, yes. I had the opportunity, little change here. I told you that's not it. That's not it. I know I'm in Texas, but I thought you guys were. You don't need to know what he just said. We just turned. Okay. We good? Cool. There we go. Let's give it up for Ty. When I went to rescue swimmer school, they said, hey, do you want to jump in the water, get paid a little extra money when shit goes wrong, right? And I was like, okay, fine. I've always, my one fault is I always raise my hand. Okay, and as I go through my talk, I got what I call Perezisms. So I'm going to throw these little things that you need to hold on to them. You need to write them down, right? They're little things that have helped me that I hope could help you, right? So, when Navy, military, they always told you in boot camp, and raise your hand. Whenever someone says, I need a volunteer, that's an opportunity, right? As a speaker, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you need to be looking for opportunities because sometimes they don't ask, you got to create them, okay? That's for you. But when I went to rescue swimmer school, they said, hey, you're going to just, you run, you work out, you'll do fine. And the thing was, I wasn't a good swimmer. I knew that going in. But I was like, I'll go. But here's the thing. The one piece of advice that my petty officer gave me was that when you do your down and backs under the water, right, you go all the way down, all the way across, up, and then all the way back, down and unders. After you do laps and everything, after you're exhausted, he goes, do this. Just remember this, and you'll be fine. Go all the way down to the bottom of the pool and just crawl. Just crawl across, you'll be fine. Why do you think that was important?
You preserve your energy and your oxygen.
Oxygen, right, because I'm lower, right? Pressure. What else? Why else? Oh, no, that fear was there. No, so I really didn't know until maybe like the third week when I got distracted, when I was emotionally fatigued. I was mentally exhausted. I wanted to quit. I didn't go all the way down to the bottom. I didn't get a good bite of air. I was swimming in the middle. There was more pressure, there was more weight, but more importantly, I saw my fellow classmates struggling, floundering in the water, gasping, throwing up in their masks. And when I saw that, what did that do to me mentally? Right? It distracted me. It made me get fearful. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me? And it made me panic. And when you do that, you stop. Yes? I need you guys just to be focused on what's happening here today. And I want you to win the battle of distractions, internally and externally. Can we agree on that? Yeah. All right. The other thing is this. I know it's 2024 and people like to take notes on computers and they like to video everything, and I'm a good-looking guy and I'm giving a talk. That's fantastic. Let's just be present in the moment. I'm good with the notes, okay? I get it, okay? I get it. But like the phones and the chip, I'm here for you. Be here for me. Is that fair? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to see if we can get this to work. I like technology. Little help. Little help. Well, we're working on that. So, how many of you have a culture statement? How many know what a culture statement is? For me, when I work with hotels and I do corporate training, I always talk about a culture statement. A culture statement is what holds up your mission and your vision statement. Shake your head if you're with me. Right? Culture statement is what ties it all together. It could be a song, it could be scripture, it could be a poem, it could be something that you come up with. Whatever guides you when you're in the crossroads, right? When you don't know which way to go, left or right, when things are weighing down and you're like, I just don't know, right? It's that thing that you lean on to go, hey, am I in alignment? Right? I like to say that, sometimes when you're having a challenge with people, is it a you thing, is it a me thing, is it an us thing? And usually it's a yes thing, right? My culture statement, and I challenge you to find one, my culture statement is a Vince Lombardi quote. Great Green Bay Packers coach, it's football season, right? His quote is, individual commitment to a group effort. That's what makes a team work. That's what makes a society work. That's what makes an organization work. Individual commitment to a team effort, right? We just talked about Luke, right? Individual commitment to a team effort. Somebody give me their takeaway about that. What's your takeaway from that quote? Anyone? No one makes it alone. What else? You got to do your part. But here's the thing. As a leader, what's that part? Right? Individual commitment to a team effort. It's a call to action. And as a servant leader, it's a true call to action. The way I look at that is, as a leader, right, my job is to every day evaluate my individual commitment to those I support and serve every day. Does that make sense? Yeah. What do I need to do for you today? What do I need to do for you tomorrow? Right? One thing is I have to lead by example. I have to instill that mindset in those people that I work with. I've had multiple businesses. I have to instill that mindset into my team, into my employees, right? And the one thing is this, people get focused or they get stuck and they don't know, well, what should I focus on? What is the one thing that I need to focus on? A clicker. What, isn't that like just an awesome team? Look at these guys. The one thing that you have to win in my view, I believe, accountability. Shake your head if you're with me. Yeah. Accountability. It's that A word that everybody loves to be a fan of and no one wants to freaking have it focused at them. Yes or no? Yes. See, accountability is interesting because it is the baseline to everything. You have to hold yourself and your people accountable to the things that you say are important every day. Consistently holding yourself accountable to the example of what you say is important. The genius part about accountability, which gets me and other people that believe in it in trouble, is because people don't really understand how accountability works. Accountability works like this. Accountability comes to you when you need it, not when you want it. Shake your head. Does that make sense? Right? When someone says you don't need that third drink, when someone says you need to go to the gym, bless you. Right? Accountability comes when you need it, not when you want it. And that's where people get into trouble. So today I'm going to go a little through my story, how I got where I'm at, my background, how I took my foot off the gas. Is it my cologne? Is that what's happening? Is that? Share some nuggets with you, some things that have helped me in business and in life and in speaking, and really kind of set the stage for the weekend. Is that fair? Right? We're just going to have fun. We're just going to talk. And I'm going to open it up, and we'll have ask some questions. Fair enough? So we covered that, right? Personal accountability. Accountability is key to me. I focus on keeping in alignment. I strive very hard to keep in alignment in my personal and my professional life. I try to be consistent. Again, sometimes that gets me in trouble, right? I like to talk about expectations. That, you know what, I don't like to abandon my expectations, but I've learned over the last couple of years, especially the last 12 months, that sometimes I have to be a little bit more open that people are going to fall short to meeting my expectations. And that could be okay, as long as they're doing their very best. Why is accountability important? Accountability leads to credibility. Accountability leads to credibility. When you hold yourself accountable to the things that you say are important, and you demonstrate that every day, and people see it every day in all walks of your life, whether it's your personal life, your professional life, your spiritual life, and they see that you hold yourself accountable, what they really see is that you are disciplined. If you are disciplined and someone sees that you're disciplined, then they consider you to be a person of, you have credibility in their eyes. Yes or no? Yes. Right? What we're really talking about is that they go, I could trust you. You're reliable. If you are someone that they could trust and that you can deliver on what you say you're going to do in your business, in your life as a speaker, right? When Daniel says, I am confident that I could come in and deliver a message that will impact and resonate with your audience, that will take them to the other level, that will, right, that you deliver on that, and you've got people that are raving fans that say that, well, then your stock rises. Yes? Yes. Influence equals trust and credibility. That increases your personal relationships. That's where influence comes from, personal relationships, right? I've been very fortunate since moving to Colorado Springs. I got out of the Navy in 99, right? I got into financial services, didn't really know anything about anything. But it made a lot of sense, and for my military folks, you know, a lot of people tell me, hey, you were in the military, you learned a lot about leadership. No, I did not. I learned about management. I learned how to ask a lot of questions. Why are we doing this? Make it make sense to me. But I learned about management. When I got into financial services, I was very fortunate to have some mentors that came into my life. A gentleman by the name of Mike Roten and Jay O'Mara. They showed me Brian. See, I got it right this time. I was like, it's Rob, right? He goes, no, it's Brian. I go, well, I got an R and a B, right? Hey, I'm halfway there. Right? They showed me, what it was not only to be a great business person and how to sell and value-based and understand centers of influence, how to work through people. But more importantly, they taught me how to be a great husband, a great father, a great man. I didn't have that in my life, right? I joined the Navy not because I wanted to serve my country. I joined the Navy because I had to get out of a crappy situation because my mom chose a crappy boyfriend. Shake your head if you're with me. Didn't have a lot of self-confidence in myself, but I knew I could make people laugh, right? We talked about the race card, black and brown people, right? I grew up in a neighborhood a little darker than most. I could play sports. I could go to parties. I could have great parties. But, you could tell this is where the social acceptance stops. Joined the Navy, learned a lot about myself, especially going to rescue swimmer school, helped me grow. Got in a P3 community, and I learned real quick that how to relate with people, officers. And I learned I was really good about connecting and being in the room, and that I was pretty well spoken as far as conveying, being concise, and we'll talk about that. When I got into financial services, though, they said, hey, you know what, you're pretty good at speaking and you kind of understand this and you're having some success. We want you to get up and do presentations. We got these Money 101s we want you to do and things of that nature. And I was like, okay. I took improv, Put me in, coach. What I learned was I was pretty good at presenting. I was pretty good at converting the crowd. And when the market changed and it crashed, I moved to Chicago, and I was burnt out. And no one wanted to talk about investments or mortgages or insurance. Remember those days? But I knew that I liked impacting people. I knew that I liked training and coaching people and helping people, like you were saying, how to impact, how to make a difference. I knew that I went through some things, right? All of you, I said, you're here for different reasons, and you're in different areas on the path, right, on your journey. I firmly believe there are 3 career paths. Would you like to know what I believe the 3 career paths in life are? Yeah. Thank you. Would you like to hear what the 3 career paths I believe there are for you in life? Yes. Okay, cool. I believe there's a socially acceptable one. Right, like, why are you an accountant? I don't know, because my parents said be an accountant. Right, nothing wrong with that. There's the money motivated. Right, why are you in hedge funds? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Man, I'm all about making money. Then there is the third path. The third path is something that I believe that if you're in this room, you have already opened door 1 and door 2. Because the weird thing about it is you have to go through door 1 and door 2. Somewhere along your life, you have to go through those 2 to realize the third one. And that's your God-given talent, right? That's where you realize, hey, I got a degree in this. I did this because I could make money. But you know what? I don't feel fulfilled. I feel empty inside. And someday you woke up and it just hit you like a lightning bolt. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So if you're here, that you've already had that conversation. Shake your head, yes? Right? So that's important for you to understand as I go through and the other speakers share things with you. You're at the right place at the right time, but much given, much... There you go. So we got into financial services. I said I like to help people, and I started a company, Success is a Language. Because success truly is a language. You know math is a universal language, right? You know that, right? Right? You could put 50 people in a room that don't speak the same language, and they could converse, have a total conversation, all with numbers and symbols on the wall. Crazy, right? You know, success is the same way. Success is a language. How many of you have ever been in a room, or how many of you have wanted to get into the room and can't figure out how to get in the room? Let's talk about the room. Raise your hand if you know the room I'm talking about. Right? There's just two levels. One, you want to get in the room. Once you get in the room, you need to stay in the room. Right? I've been very fortunate to learn how to get into the room. I've had governors appoint me on boards. I sit as a commissioner of urban renewal. I've had mayors appoint me. I started a chamber. I sit on Red Cross boards. I have a PhD, public high school diploma. I realized when I got out of financial services that I needed to create a platform. LinkedIn was new. And you know what? If I would have wrote a book like Josh Turner, anybody know Josh Turner? Because I did exactly what he did in the book, and he made millions of dollars on his book, and I did not. However, it works. I realized I had to create a platform, and my platform that I'm going to win on is leadership and influence. I believe that in any business, whether it's a speaking business, a cleaning business, whatever job, whatever it is that you do, you need to evaluate on a scale 1 to 5, 5 being a rock star, where are you on a level of influence? John Maxwell, right? I was in his second class because I wanted to create a platform. I was good at speaking. He was my mentor from afar for 10 years. This was an awesome opportunity. I took advantage of it, and I honed my speaking skills, and I worked with them for about 2 years. He teaches this: increase your influence, you increase your what? Leadership. Close. Increase your influence, you increase your leadership. But the question that I always had was, okay, if that's true, which is true, then how do you increase your influence, right? We've been taught that we are all products of our environment. How many of you heard that before? We're all products of our environment. Do you believe that? No. I believe that we are all products of the influences in our environment. And those influences are for a season. Right? There's been people in my life that told me to join the Navy because he was 22, and at that time he was 22, didn't have a job, and lived at home with his parents. But at that time, Mike Collins was a rock star in my eyes. And he said, "You're dumb if you don't join the Navy. What are you going to do, hang out here and wait and be a loser like us?" That made a lot of sense to me when I was 19. Right? We have influences in our lives that shape us, that have made us who we are today. The question you have to ask yourself, and write this down, is who are you influencing today? And how good of a job are you doing? Right? Because if you want to be a speaker, it's not about you just having a message and you want to share what's important to you. It is, but remember what Daniel said when he opened up the meeting. Being a great speaker is about serving your audience. What do they want? How do you take your message and make it fit? Right? I have a signature talk. My TED Talk is about servant leadership. Now, I was very fortunate, Eddie, that my talk wasn't about underwater basket weaving. At the time, servant leadership, and still today, is something that a lot of CEOs and companies Google up, and guess who shows up number 5? That TED Talks paid me hundreds of thousands of dollars. It gave me a lot of opportunities. But it was really because of the topic, right? You got to frame your topic where it fits in other people's pockets. Does that make sense? Right? So, it's all about influence. When I started working on my speaking and working with John Maxwell, I was in Chicago. I started out in nonprofits. There's something funny about how things work in the speaking business, right? Daniel kind of alluded to it. It's different tiers, but I'm going to share it with you because then you know you're on the right track. Okay, do you want to know? Yes. Right, there was a time where I remember talking to a pastor, and I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to come out and do a workshop for you." And this is funny because he goes, "Well, do you have like a DVD or something of yourself?" I'm like, "No." "Well, do you have like anything, like a website?" "Well, I just do what I do. I've been told I give a good message." And he's like, "Son, when you have all those things, you come and talk to me." Understood. So I got all those things. And then when I went to go talk to him, he's like, "Okay, cool. Well, you could come and talk. This sounds like good. This sounds good for my church. And if it's good, I'll refer you to people." And guess how much I got paid? Oh, no, it ended up being hundreds of thousands of dollars. That day for that workshop, $0. Right? See, when you first start going out there, they're just going to see you and go, "Yeah, I mean, if you want to come out and talk, we have speakers come out at our event. You can talk." Right? You got to go through those. But then somewhere along the line, you do a little bit more, and there's somebody in the audience, and they see how you deliver. And somewhere along the line, when you sit down with somebody, they go, "Well, I know you charge. What's your fee?" Right? And you got to be prepared for that. Right? And that means because you're growing. You're becoming a professional. You're learning your craft. Right? We made that turn. And I started, one was I learned a lot about social emotional intelligence. And I was like, that's just professionalism to me. And I started going down the rabbit hole and really focusing all my trainings around that. And where does social emotional intelligence fit? Because I had to take my talk and what was my message and what was important to me, and I had to make it fit in other industries. Shake your head if you're with me. And what I realized was increasing your emotional intelligence, well, you know what? That's professionalism. That's customer service. I took it into hospitality and corporate trainings on service excellence. We did law enforcement with anti-bias training. I did corporate training, employee engagement, diversity, customer experience. Let's see, we were at a real estate conference talking about why servant leadership's important in today's market, right? I could shop that package and that training in pretty much any industry. Here, catch what I'm saying though, but staying true to me. Yes? Right? My guys in the back, we were talking about last night that nowadays, right, everybody, hey, you paid this much and do this and I'll get you on a stage and oh man, you know what, That's not why you're here. That's not what Daniel's about. We're about teaching you the essential skills to deliver a message from the heart, what's important to you to impact the audience that the Lord put you in front of. There's a reason why you get on stage to talk to the people that you're talking to. Shake your head if you're with me. There's a reason. And oh, by the way, as a speaker, you could pick and choose where you speak and where you choose not to speak. Right? So it's about influence. Once you win in the area of influence, now it's about what do you do with it, right? We're talking about transformational leadership, ultimately servant leadership. Why is that key? For me, being a speaker and people know who I am, right? When I coach people, I ask an opening question, right? Scott, right? I'll ask Scott, who are you to your community? And what's interesting is when I ask that question, people ponder the thought and they hem and haw about it. What I'm saying is there's no clarity. Who are you to your community? I'm this, I'm that. Who are you to your family? I'm this person. I want to show it's just all over the place. I'll ask you to think about that when we take a break or over the weekend. Who are you to your family? Who are you to your community? But what's magical is that when I say, who do you want to be? Oh my God, it's like the floodgates open up. I'm like, calm down. I want to be the go-to person. I want to be the person and shining star in my community. I want to open up a foundation. I want to solve cancer and solve poverty. I want to, right? Like people just get like, wow, great. How do we get there? Right? That's where the journey begins. It's that simple. So I share that with you because here's the thing. To be a great speaker, right? What are you doing when you're off the stage? Who are you when you're off the stage? Right? When I'm at home, people know what I do in the community. They know that I care about people. I advocate for people. I push bills. I ask tough questions. What is it somebody told me? They were asking about me, and they're like, well, I'll tell you, Anthony, well, he'll tell you like it is. You're probably not going to like it, but he's going to tell you the truth. He'll own it when he's wrong. He's going to be persistent and consistent about what he believes is right for the community and for the people he serves. Right? I don't know if that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Right? The point is this. When you're marketing yourself and you're developing your business, it's a business. Right? Raise your hand if you have a business. You have good reviews, right? They know that you show up, you deliver, you do a good job, right? They know that you care about your community. You're where you go, and I like to say you have to be seen by those you want to be seen by. You can write that down. You need to be seen by those you need to be seen by. When you're out and making an impact in the community, and when you're connecting with people, the more you give, the more you... I was out doing my thing. I was in my lane. You're going to hear about picking your lane later. I was in my lane, trying to help the community, making connections, increasing my platform, my influence, and really focusing on my message and my mission. And doing that connected me with a lot of different people that mentored me along the way in Colorado Springs, gave me opportunities that I already shared with you, right? Those things, let me be very clear. I didn't seek some of those opportunities. I didn't seek them. Those people sought after me. There's a difference, right? Right? Daniel's in a place that he made a lot of deposits and invested, where now he's being sought after as a speaker, as a community leader, right? You have to position yourself. You have to invest in that. In doing that, the opportunity for a TED Talk came. Now, I love to share this story because it gives people hope, especially today. Nowadays, I'm just going to be straight up. Nowadays, apparently, hey, you pay somebody $25,000 and they promise you they're going to get you on a TED Talk stage. Personally, I think it's bullshit, but because that's not what it should be, right? Again, you could pick and choose which TED Talk you go to. Just putting that out there. There's fantastic opportunities and great ones, and then there's, well, this one that someone started. Just saying. But here's the thing. Somebody called me and said, I know what you do. I know you speak. I know who you are. There's an opportunity. Here's the theme. And you could go to TED Talk and see all of them, the themes and everything. And now they make it easier because you could do one video and just submit it to all of them, right? And then they could pick and choose you. Like, hey, I think your talk is perfect for our theme, right? At that time, it was, this one had a theme. The theme was the future of the future. I was like, oh, interesting. And I was reading, and I was like, this would be a great opportunity. Wow, okay. What do I share? I don't know how you come up with your talks, okay? I don't know. I'm in the gym. You work out, right? A little bit? Did you just start? A little bit. Right. Okay. I go to the gym, right? When I'm talking to a client, hey, we'd like to have you to a talk. I go, well, I have a talk on this, I have a talk on that, but I like to tailor it. I'll go into the gym, I just kind of throw it up and let it come back down. And I was in the gym, it was future to future, and I threw it up. I said, give me something. Give me something to work with. And it came down with the future to future is servant leadership. I was like, that resonates. I did some research. I took a course. I was like, yep, and I put my talk together. Now, here's the thing. If you don't know how it works, right, there was like 150 applicants. They whittle it down to like 50 or something, and then they make a cut. I think the cut was like 30. And they called and said, you made the cut. And I went there with my son, and they have like a board, right? They got like 3 or 4 people. They're the curator, and then they got like 2 or 3 board people, and they sit there. And it's like you're auditioning for a part in a movie, right? Right? They're like, you're on. Give us your talk. And now remember, when you're doing a 45-minute or a 60-minute talk, you got time to impact and connect and all that stuff. Take your time, hold their hand, and walk them through your story. In a TED Talk, no, it's a thought that you're sharing, and it has to be impactful. So I was the last one to go, and my son was there. And they go, like, off you go. See what you got. And I did my talk, and they came back like 2 weeks later, and they said, you're in. You made the cut, 1 of 12. It's like, wow. Yeah, thank you. Here's what most people don't know, and this is what you want to hold on to. When you do your TED Talk and the whole thing's over, right, they do a little after party, right? Everyone, the supporters, the sponsors, the speakers, they do a little party and everything. And the crew, the decision makers were like, hey, man, do you got a minute? And I was like, yeah, what's going on? They're like, hey, we just wanted to share something with you because we feel that you will value. You're the right kind of person that would value this feedback and use it for good. Okay. Okay, I don't know where this is going, but all right. And they go, listen, when you came in, we gave you an opportunity to speak, to audition, because we had to. You were there. You were the last one. We already made up our minds. We already picked our speakers. You didn't have any letters on the front of your name or the end of your name. These people were PhDs and CEOs, and not to be mean, but they kind of did some crap. They've done some stuff. They had books, and and we already made up our mind, but we let you go because it was the right thing to do. I'm like, well, thank you. I think there's a compliment in there somewhere. He's like, what you need to know is this. When you came in and you shared your message, it was authentic. It resonated. It supported the theme. We both agreed, we all agreed, the future is to embody servant leadership. If you watch the TED Talk, I talk about we're so busy getting an F-bomb in every other word, and we don't say please and thank you, and we need to be more present in the moment, right? That was in 15. It's even more relevant now. My point is this. Daniel talked about, am I good enough? You're all experts in something in your lives, right? You're all experts in something in your life. Yes, you're good enough. My point is this. Some might think, wow, I could never be at a TED Talk, or I never could be on a stage, or I won't be selected. You got to keep doing it. You got to work on it. But here's the thing. The message has to come from here, not here. I use this to shape it and put a framework together. I throw it up and say, Lord, give me something amazing. Every day I work on the idea that, you know what, I am a highly sought-after professional speaker, and my message is to empower the Lord and help people improve their personal and professional lives. And I accomplish that by taking the time to really put up what is it that I want to share, understand and listen to where they're at, where they want to go, and do my very best. I was talking to you guys last night. People go, do you get nervous when you get up and speak? Yep. Not because I'm in front of people, but because I want to make sure that my message comes to you and it's worth your time. That something came to you and connected and I impacted your life that you're like, you know what, I wrote down a couple things. Those little Perezisms, I got 3 or 4 things, and man, you know, when you said this, that resonated. So I want to share with you as I get ready to wrap up, and then you can open up with some questions. I want to share with you a couple things that work for me that I want you to be on front of mind when you're working on developing your talks, when you're getting prepared to engage with people, like a filter. To ask yourself a checklist, am I accomplishing this in my talk? Am I accomplishing this when I'm engaging and I'm talking with people? Right? One, if you don't understand the power of emotional intelligence, I encourage you to get Emotional Intelligence 2.0. Is that right? Yeah. By Travis, yep, right. Emotional Intelligence 2.0. Look, I wrote a book. Probably easier than me reading a book, okay? Let me just put it that way. But thank God for audio books. But I have read that book 5 times. I signed up to be a facilitator. Trust me, it'll help you in your speaking business, because when you can understand a different type of people, especially the decision makers, and how to connect and how to pivot. I was telling you guys, I was doing a workshop for a health department. I did the same workshop for 20 people, and they were like, man, you're awesome. I did it for them, and they were like, are you done yet? I was like, oh. I had to really pivot, because it was a series of 5. It was $10,000, and I was wanting to get paid the $10,000, right? Make sense? So let me go through my 7 A's, and I want to go through a couple things here for you. 1, you write these down. I'm going to go fast. 1, 7 A's. I came up with they were the 4 A's. I coached flag football for my son, and I was like, okay, you guys, I did the colors, the routes and stuff, right? And I was like, okay, I got to get you guys got to focus on these 4 things, man. And this is what I just drilled into their mind. And then I was like, well, how does that apply in business, right? And we're going to talk about what I just shared in the next with my 3 R's. And I expanded it. So the first one is the 7 A's, right? 1 is assignment. You got to understand your assignment. What is your assignment? You're putting a message together for your client. You're going out to share your message. What's the assignment? What do you need to accomplish there, right? I want you to apply it to when I was coaching football, right? What's the assignment? Are you a running back? Are you a quarterback, right? What's your assignment as a speaker, as a business person, as a community leader? What are you trying to accomplish? Not just for you, but what's the expectation that they have of you? Does that make sense? Right? That means you have to increase your awareness. You need to increase your awareness of what's going on. If your talk is this, cool. What's going around in the world? How is your talk relevant to your client? How is your talk relevant to that industry? What other industry is your talk relevant to? What's going on in the world right now, in the region? Is it school districts? Is it manufacturing? How does your talk increase your awareness of what's going around, and how you can move your talk around? Being true to you, yes? You have to anticipate. You have to anticipate. You have to anticipate technical challenges and microphones not working. You have to anticipate what the client needs. It's always about the customer. You got to anticipate their needs. You got to anticipate the audience's needs. right? So if you're increasing your awareness and you understand what your job is, now you can anticipate, right? That's where getting to talk to people before your workshop is so impactful for you, because you get to know the little things. And then you get to say things like, what was your cat's name again? Shadow. We met multiple times in the elevator, and I got the opportunity to meet Shadow last night. There you go. I should have brought Gary. Number 4, then you got to adapt. You have to know how to adapt. Right? There might be a time where, guess what? Your slides aren't working. There might be a time where they go, hey, man, the keynote's running late. Can you just open? We're going to bump you, right? You might have an opportunity where you're going to go after John Maxwell. Ooh, okay, right? You have to adapt in what you're talking about. You might have to change it on the fly. My servant leadership, that's what it was called, servant leadership. I had UTC Aerodynamics fly me out to talk to 500 international leaders. Literally, they're all around the world. And you know what? They said, we don't want you to use the word servant leadership. They told me that day. I had to pivot and change it. You got to understand about accountability. We talked about that already. You got to hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable to things that you say are important. You have to take action. You got to take action in the right areas. You have to have a sense of urgency on the right things. I'm going to say that again. You have to have a sense of urgency about the right things. Sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, we get caught up, squirrel, right, on shiny objects. Oh, I got to get this. I got to do that. I got to do it. You know what? Get a one-pager, get your landing page done, and go do, right? You got a message. You don't, listen, right? We get caught. There's so much out there, so much now that we need to do. Get somebody else to do it. Focus on the things, right? He knows. You got to take action, and then you'll like this. You got to execute. You see what I did there? It didn't have an A, right? You got that? You got to execute. You got to execute consistently at a high level. I've been sharing, like with UTC, it was an aerodynamic company. There was about 500 people. Singapore to Mexico, Latin America, you name it. And I gave them a talk, and in the talk, I showed pictures of socks all over my house. Aerospace, leadership, I don't know. That's what came to me. The talk was, I tied the talk in the back. How many of you guys are managers? And you feel like how many are parents? And I go, yeah. You know, being a manager is a lot like being a parent. And sometimes you keep doing things, and finally you do something, you break it down, you know, this is it, where you put in a policy, and moving forward, this is how it is, because you can't take it anymore. And you put out some policy, and your people go, okay. Because they know you're not going to follow through, you're not going to be consistent. I go, see, what do you see back here? And one guy's up front, he's like, are those socks? I go, yeah, my son's doing this thing. Every time I come home, takes off his socks. They're all over the place. And like managers, I had enough. And I said, you know what, moving forward, every time I find a sock, I'm taking your phone for an hour. And you know what he said? Okay. Because he knew I'd come home on the phone and I'd walk over to socks, and I wasn't holding myself consistent to the things I say are important. And I shared this whole thing together. 3 weeks later, we're on a Zoom check-in call. How's things going? What blah, 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 how's business? And the one dude, he was like from Argentina. He's like, hey, Anthony, I think I'll speak for myself, but I think I'm speaking for the group. You know, what you shared with us was very impactful. I think what I'm saying is we're not picking up any socks anymore. Like, that was gold, right? 3 R's. You need to be relatable. You got to be relatable to your audience. Most people are parents. Most people have parents, pretty sure. Some way, shape, or form. I don't know. It's weird. You got to be relatable. Find ways. That means that, you know what? I observe things in life and try to find the leadership opportunity out of it, right? I always observe things, or my personal experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, you know, where I messed up, or what I watched, or what I experienced, or what my employee went through, right? Share those things because those have gone through it. You got to be relatable to your audience. It's got to be relevant. Your talk needs to be relevant to your audience in a variety of ways. If you could connect somebody in their personal life and their professional life, right now you're capturing their heart, right? And you got to resonate. It has to resonate with them. Your folks got to walk away. It's got to impact them. At least 2 or 3 things where they'll go, man, when you said that, you were talking right to me. You just don't know. I just got off the phone. Went, oh my God. And then there's the 4 C's. 3 R's. Relevant and resonate. And then you got to win in communication. You got to learn, you got to communicate. You got to convey your message in a concise way, in a way that connects with the people that you are speaking to. And you got to stay on time. So with that, I hope those nuggets, little Perez perspective, helped you out. You know, they say that if you could capture someone's heart, you could capture their mind. And I hope I was able to do that in my short time here, share some things with you, connect with you, to help you grow your business, but more importantly, to help you win as a human being. I want you to win in the area of distractions, be focused the rest of the weekend. And come find me afterwards. I'd love to talk to you and see how else I could help you. But otherwise, let's put our hands together for Daniel as we bring him back up. And thank you so much for your time.